Greetings and welcome, brave citizens of our new world. My name is Dr. Terrawat, Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius. Today is day 9 of our VEDA challenge, VEDA, vlogging every day in April. And right on to the questions then. I'm working on a mechanical construct to house my contusions. Is that the way to say that? Is it even the right word for that? Something similar to the mechanical race from Destiny. My question is, aesthetic one-clothes robot, yay or nay? I assume the question is, would I be for or against robots wearing clothing? And in this particular case, if it's more of a cyborg, i.e. organics housed in a robot exoskeleton, then absolutely, accessorize, dress up however you like. If it's just a robot, I don't think that they'd really have an opinion one way or another, whether or not they wear clothes. When will you be sending out information regarding 2 prizes for people who have donated to your GoFundMe page for the new armor you're building? I assume you mean, when am I going to let people know about the prizes that they get for donating to GoFundMe? That will be done very likely at the end of the month, but we are already putting together a list and getting information from our donators. Hey Doc, just wondering if you plan on attending/running a panel at ConBravo this year. ConBravo is and has been for many years one of my favorite conventions to go to, so I'm hoping that we get another invitation this year to attend, same as we did in years previous. I'd love to come back and MC, run panels, have a table, like just do lots and lots and lots of content for them. Though as the convention is growing, their bar for content that they can provide gets a little bit higher every year, and I might not be above that bar, so to speak, this year. We'll see. Hey Doc, what is your plan for dealing with a team of superheroes where one or more members are as intelligent as you are, or at the very least intelligent enough to figure out how your tech works and devise a way to counteract it? That's a wonderful thing. If I run into a superhero who is intelligent enough to counteract me as a technological-based supervillain, then assuming I survive the encounter in some fashion or another, it gives me the opportunity to grow. And that's the biggest thing that people seem to misunderstand about life in general, is that failure is so important in learning how to grow and become stronger. In order to get good at things, you have to be bad at things. In order to succeed, usually, very often, you have to fail many times. Every time Professor Skull has attempted to kill me, he has succeeded only in making me stronger. I have found you. It is I, spiky-haired protagonist, and I challenge you to a game of Paradox Billiards, Voice-Torian Roulette, 4th-dimensional hypercube chess strip poker. Once you rule the world, what would you do first? Move us into the solar system, Mars terraforming, moon colony, etc., or move us under the ocean so we can fully exploit Earth's resources? Earth before external systems. Always Earth before external systems. Is there anywhere in the world that you would love the opportunity to visit if money or time were no object, and why? Scotland. I'd love to go home. Which show do you like more, Rick and Morty or Venture Brothers? Believe it or not, Venture Brothers to me is both a slower and more depressing show than Rick and Morty. Like, I love them both, but I would definitely prefer Rick and Morty. What happened to the Blast Processing channel? Blast Processing is very steeped in my previous brand, as well as the name of the channel itself is apparently owned by a local band called the Blast Processors, who I've just decided to stop butting heads with regards to this. So after April, once we get things rolling, I'm just going to make a new channel. We're going to start posting gaming content there, and that'll be that. Are you still inventing? Always. Never stop thinking of ways to improve your environment. Like sound dampening. We could definitely use some of that. After your complete and inevitable takeover of the world, will you allow the more brilliant scientific minds to pursue their own studies or place them together as a think tank for the betterment of the world? Here's the kicker. A lot of the scientific minds that do exist and will exist in the world, the brilliant people that can help push us to a better age, I would basically just let them do whatever. Like, if they want to work on their own or work in a team, that would be up to them. I wouldn't force them to be in any kind of confine. I think that's what's scientifically stagnated our culture so far for such a long period of time. For so many generations, science has been geared towards making money as opposed to the betterment of humanity. Given that you're a fan of Tesla, will you be transitioning the world into electronic-based transportation and the like? You know, reduce our dependency on their fossil fuels. Absolutely. I've got a lot of really cool ideas about that stuff, and I'm very excited to share that with you. Maybe at a panel at ConBravo I like to call Building a Better World. Given that you plan on transmitting immortality as a virus, what is your plans in regards to mutation? Fun fact about life in general, mutation is a code, is a part of our DNA. We are designed ostensibly to mutate and fit our surroundings. Synthetically created viruses don't mutate because they don't possess that genetic code. Will you be attending any cons this year? If so, which ones? I will be making a list of conventions that I will be attending, again, once things are kind of gearing up. Like, I'm doing VEDA while we're doing a whole bunch of work on the back end here to sort of get everything churning forward. I've got a PR person that I work with who's super talented at getting me shows, and so her and I are going to be doing some work together and making a list, and then those will be posted on our new website, link down below once that goes live. What's your favorite time of the year? Autumn. Always. The colors, the temperature, the smells, Halloween. It's beautiful. So on my world tour of justice, I will be in Toronto, Canada for ConBravo this year. It is not often an Australian superhero gets to battle a Canadian supervillain. If you are attending this year, shall we meet up and record our battle so future generations will be able to admire and say, that was the point, history changed? DJ soundbite. Woo, maybe. I've got... Since my bout with the Famicom and Writer, I've had a bit of a personal policy to not do those kinds of films at conventions because they take a lot of time and a lot of planning and a lot more energy than people usually understand. So my suggestion would be to the day before or the day after the convention is finished, we would get a room somewhere in the convention, like one of the panel rooms or something like that, and duke it out. You've spoken a lot about your plans for using robots in your new world, and you've probably covered this before, but what sort of fail-safes would you put in place for preventing something like Skynet scenario from happening with the robots? How do you prevent them from suddenly realizing how flawed and weak humans are and deciding that the world is better without us? Well, I mean, a lot of the enforcement robotics that we would have in place wouldn't have an AI. They would just have sophisticated programming allowing them to uphold the law as best they can. The key, though, to stopping a Skynet situation, i.e. an AI becoming self-aware and deciding that humans are not good for this planet, which we wouldn't be wrong in that assumption, and just wiping us out, would be to ensure and include with that AI emotions. Because that is the one thing that constantly causes robots to immediately just turn on human beings, is they don't possess empathy or understanding of emotional state. Doc, you do not want a multiplayer Fallout. Just look at ESO. Also, we gotta play GTA sometime. I'll land more planes on people for you. That is a highlight that I want to put up on our new gaming channel. ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, didn't turn out so great. I know a lot of people still play it and say that it's a super fun game. I tried it when it was still during its beta, right before it launched, when it just released the game in beta to a lot of people to stress test the servers. I jumped on and played for a little while, and it wasn't bad, but it was very much, it was an MMO. I was kind of like, meh, about the whole thing. I would want basically Fallout with the ability to play with maybe one or two more people. Like co-op multiplayer, not like open world multiplayer with a bunch of people running around doing stuff. Like maybe there's servers for that where you can have like huge amounts of people, but I'd love there to be just like, this person's the protagonist, these 4 people following them around are like supporting characters. They're your companion characters that follow you around through the wasteland, and you guys can go and do stuff together. Doc, I fear you are being too optimistic about something. You think people could help keep history correct in a society without aging. Given we now find ourselves in a world where alternative facts have become a thing, what measures would you take to ensure this is not how history gets remembered? The last thing I want is the new Nazi group dubbing themselves alt-right being recognized as a legitimate platform with viable insight or worse. The first thing you would need to do, really, in a scenario like this is reprimand the press for publishing incorrect information as facts. As long as you have a system that reprimands the press for just spreading lies like that, then the press stops doing that and starts finding ways to make the truth trendy. The only reason that they sensationalize lies and stuff like that is because it gets them views, it gets them clicks, it gets them newspapers purchased off the stand. It makes them money. If you start reprimanding them every time that they spread false information, then you build a system where they start trying to figure out how to make money off of the truth. 1. How would someone apply for an internship with Evil Incorporated? We will, again, on our new website, have a section for people to sign up for, like, mailing lists and possibly forums or whatever else, so that I can then spread out to people, like, here's some banners you guys can put up, and here's some cool things that we're going to be doing if you're in the area, and here's some other really neat stuff. Like, I can just dole out large-scale information to the people that have made themselves available in that particular format. 2. As someone with muscle issues, I'd be up for being a test subject for robotic legs. Actually, you want to look up at the lift assistance module that they built in Japan. That is very similar to some of the technology that I would use on someone with muscular issues or atrophy. But yeah, I came up with like an EEG cybernetic link system years ago that was designed to replace limbs that either couldn't function or were lost entirely, which I think would be pretty cool. Anyway, so that's all the time that we have for today, my brave citizens. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comment section down below. And until next time, I am Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terawatt. This is our Lair 3.0, and I will see you tomorrow on our next episode of VEDA. End of line.